understand the different attribution models in GA4. Let's jump in. So in your GA4 dashboard, you're going to go to the very left tab bar. You're going to scroll right to the bottom to advertising, and you're going to go into this screen where you can see basically three options: all channels, model comparison, or conversion paths. Let's just start in conversion paths so we can understand the whole journey and really this dashboard. So in conversion paths, what it's going to show me is every conversion automatically. I can filter obviously between different conversions. So I can look at only purchases, I can look at only form submissions, and so on and so on. But let's just keep everything ticked for now. And it's going to show me every touch point that each conversion has had. So I can see conversion number 1 came from paid search. And while only looking at one little tab or only one little rectangle, is that it's reporting that 113 of these conversions came only from one session, and that was paid search. If I scroll down a little bit further, so let's just look at, for example, session number 6. What it's saying is that there have been 2 conversions that have happened from 6 organic searches, meaning that someone's come through an organic search, they've left the site, they've come again, they've left the site. This has happened 6 times, and eventually they've converted. And then if I scroll down even further, I can see a blended type of conversion. So let's look at number 8 as an example. I can see this is one conversion that's happened, and the person essentially has come 6 times, again, organic search times 6. They've left, and then they've come one further time through paid search, and then they've converted. And that's how I can actually understand this report, and we'll view this report. Now, if I scroll up, I can look at how this report is built. And I can play with different metrics and different selections. So probably the most important one that I want to play with is this last one here, where it says using data-driven, which I'll speak about shortly. And data-driven is essentially basically a GA4 creation, which blends and molds different attribution methods to kind of give us an overview of what's happened. And I'll give you a quick summary explanation how that works. So in Universal Analytics, the preceding analytics to GA4, all attribution as a default, and you could change it also just like you could in GA4, but all attribution was by default last click attribution, meaning that if I came to the website 6 times, so let's use this example number 8 again. If I came to the website 6 times and I left, and then I came to the website one final time, so my 7th time via paid search, the Universal Analytics would credit paid search 100% in the default view as contributing to that conversion. Now, what data-driven does, it actually combines a few different methods. So even going back to Universal Analytics, there were many options where you could essentially do, I would say, 3 or 4 different approaches. And again, there's no one right approach. There's really it's really a personal choice which one actually values most. So the most common ones to kind of go through all of them. So last click attribution, why it was valued so highly was the thought was that, yes, there were a bunch of channels that most likely contributed, but if that final channel wasn't there, the person wouldn't have converted. That's essentially the thought process that existed beforehand. Then there was another approach which spoke about first click attribution, meaning that only give 100% of the credit to the person that came first to the site, or the channel that contributed to the user coming first to the site. So for example, in this case, again, using 8, organic search would have been credited 100% for that user. And again, there's some logic behind that. If the user wouldn't have got there in the first place, they wouldn't have the opportunity to come at the end and convert finally. Then there were different methods called time decay. And time decay was an interesting one. And time decay, how that works, and one could choose first click time decay, and last click time decay, meaning that give a reducing credit to clicks that happen. Let's using first click attribution first click time decay attribution first. Give reducing credit to someone after the first click, meaning that let's say they had 6 clicks before they actually converted. Give the first click the most credit, the next click a little bit less credit, the next click a little bit less credit, and so on and so on. And again, on the reverse way to look at it, using last click time decay, it's quite a difficult one to say. It's give the last click the most credit, the preceding click a little bit less credit, and so on and so on. And then there were all blended, molded options to this effect. In summary, what GA4 has done as the default, it's saying data-driven, meaning that use typically, first click is a very important signal contribution, meaning that whatever source brought the user there in the first place, highly rate or highly attribute. Give the last click that brought the user there a lot of contribution, so highly attribute. And typically the middle ones give credit, but less credit. And they kind of mold it all together in a formula, and they spit out a final summary of which clicks were the most important and the least important. And if we jump into model comparison, so that's the tab just above that, we're able to, again, play around with different models and actually see how my conversions would look differently. So using the default in Universal Analytics, at least, it would say we had 145 conversions, 129 of them would be credited to paid search, meaning that 129 of those clicks were really the last click that actually converted them from Google Ads. And in this case, data-driven, this tells me that there were a number of other sources, not many actually, because it's very close, these numbers, but there were a number of other sources, maybe organic a few, maybe direct a few, that brought the user there the first time on a few of the conversions. But I can see, again, by these numbers being so close, they brought a few of those conversions by different sources, and that's data-driven kind of gives me a different kind of number. This is also why, if you look at your view in their decimal places, there's typically a data-driven attribution applied to it, because it's kind of, giving a little bit of credit to the first click, I give a lot of credit typically to the last click, and so on and so on. And then I can play with all the different options that it gives me and see how different my different conversions would look across different conversions. So I hope that helps. If there's any attribution questions, please leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to help you out. Thanks so much.